For our philanthropists and investors use case, imagine you're an investor interested in infrastructure projects in Africa. You want to know what the risks are in this sector that may not be traditionally associated with your existing investment portfolio. You're concerned about your own reputational risk, the possibility of doing more harm than good, and about not meeting your defined impact metrics for this type of investment. You come to the console to understand how infrastructure projects in Africa are affecting local communities. Starting from our dashboard, we navigate to the complaint visualization page. From the complaint visualization page, we add filters to search for projects that are in Africa in the infrastructure sector. This filters our list down from 1,261 complaints to 70 complaints. Looking at the visualization of these 70 complaints, we immediately notice that the number of complaints about infrastructure projects in Africa are increasing rapidly over time. Scrolling down, we also see that almost 3/4 of complaints to accountability mechanisms are being found eligible, meaning that they raise issues that meet a threshold of legitimacy from the accountability mechanisms. We're most interested in learning about what has gone wrong in these infrastructure projects, so you scroll down to issues and see that the most commonly raised issues here are displacement, consultation, due diligence, and livelihoods. You're also curious about what financial institutions are supporting African infrastructure projects that have received complaints. You scroll back up, and instead of viewing all data, click the comparison button to see complaints broken down by mechanism. You can also use the comparison feature to break down complaint data by sector, issue, country, or region. You can look at this data as total numbers or as relative percentage values. Looking at the data by accountability mechanism, we see that complaints have been filed to accountability mechanisms tied to 6 financial institutions. So, regardless of the financing partners you work with, there will be both a track record of potential harm to be aware of, as well as experience in learning from these complaints. You may want to know more about the International Finance Corporation, the private arm of the World Bank, as they may be a key partner you work with on financing projects. Or, if your firm follows the Equator Principles, your due diligence standards are likely very similar to the IFC's performance standards. Seeing how the IFC has applied or misapplied these standards would be very instructive for your own due diligence. Opening up the advanced filters, you can scroll down and add the International Finance Corporation as the bank filter for your complaints. This narrows down our list of complaints to 16. In addition to viewing this data graphically and as a list, we can also use the View as Map feature to see where on the continent these complaints are distributed. Clicking on any country allows us to see the complaint data from that particular country. Clicking on this complaint will take us to the complaint detail page for this port project's complaint in Ghana. To get a sense of the issues raised in this complaint, we can hover over the issue icons to see that issues of consultation and disclosure, displacement, livelihoods, and violence against the community were raised by the complainants. We may be surprised to see violence against the community as part of the complaints raised by this complainant and want to follow that issue more closely. Clicking on the Browse Complaints thing from the violence icon allows us to view all complaints raised that bring up the issue of violence against the community. We can see that this issue has been raised in 36 complaints. Navigating through this list by mechanism, we can see that the IFC has handled complaints with this issue, which shows the threats of private sector investing without addressing security risks to local people. This is now an issue we'll add to our due diligence that we know about because of our research on the console. To stay apprised of this issue, we may want updates whenever complaints are filed that raise it. Going back to our dashboard, we can scroll down to the complaints that we're following and add violence against the community as an issue that we're following. In addition to seeing this information on the dashboard every time you log in, this also means that you will get regular email updates anytime new information related to this particular issue is added to the console. This will provide you with concrete actionable data about the social aspect of ESG due diligence that you can use as you continue to tailor your own due diligence research.